Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 20 of Talking Sports or Talk Sports, whichever one you want to call it. Tonight, I am going to tell you my preseason AAC American Athletic Conference standings. I redid them and I'm going to show you them tonight, along with a couple other things about the American Athletic Conference. And I'm also going to preview the University of South Florida Bulls football schedule. Let's get right into it. So here are my preseason American Athletic Conference preseason standings, as you see on the screen. Number 14, I have Temple. Number 13, I have the Charlotte 49ers. Number 12, I have Navy. Midshipmen. Number 11, I have North Texas. Mean Green. Number 10, Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Hi, Robbie. Number 9, I have the Rice Owls. Number 8, I have the Memphis Tigers. Number 7, East Carolina. Number 6, I have the Florida Atlantic Owls. Number 5, I have UAB. Number 4, I have UTSA. The minor UTSA. Roadrunners is what I meant to put. SMU at number 3, number 2, Tulane, and number 1, USF. So let's spin it back to the top, and I will explain why I have these teams where I have them. So number 14, I have Temple, and the reason I have them here is due to them not really having a starting quarterback. And Stan Drayton's a good head coach, but I don't think Temple will win more than 3 games this year in the American Athletic Conference, because it's going to be a fairly competitive conference this year, more than it was last year. Now with Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston all gone to the Big 12, I think there's a lot more room for competition. But I don't think Temple's up to standard yet. Now, number 13, Charlotte. The reason I have them here is because they are new to the American Athletic Conference, and I don't know how good they're going to be in their first year in the American. Don't get me wrong. I think that when I do this again, possibly before the season, which is next month, I think I can have them higher. I just need to watch. I need to watch more film and get to know more about them. Number 13 was Charlotte. Number 12 is Navy. The reason Navy's here is because they have a new head coach, and they're not really known for football. They're more, you send your kids to Navy to learn how to be good, to learn how to be men. And after they're done playing football or whatever sport they play, in this case it is football, they have their choice. They have to go into the military, into the Naval Academy for, I think it's 2 years, and that's basically what they do. And then when they come back, then they can either go pro, or if they still have eligibility left, then they can still play football. Number 11, I have North Texas. And the reason I have them here is because they're another new team to the American Athletic Conference. And they come over from Conference USA. They come over from Conference USA, and they have, this is their first year in the American. That's all I got to say on them. Number 10, Tulsa. The reason I don't have them inside the top 9 is because I don't see a way they finish higher than where I put them at the end of the season when I do this, after the season's over. Number 9, I have the Rice Owls. And this may be shocking. When I did this the first time, and I did 12-5, 14-5, when I did it the first time, you saw where I had them. I watched more video on them. I think they could surprise a lot of people in their first year in the American Athletic Conference. And enough to where they could be middle of the pack in the American. Whether that be, they'll be right around this range, 7, 8, 9. Maybe they get up to 6. Maybe. It's unknown because they were not good in Conference USA, but that doesn't mean that they can't do better in the American. At number 8 is Memphis. I could have had Memphis higher, but I don't see them doing good I see them doing good this year, but not in the tier of where you'll see where I have a USF, Tulane, SMU, UTSA. That's a little teaser for the bottom portion of these rankings. But spin around back to Memphis. I could see Memphis being around here or a little bit higher if they play well. Now let's get on to number 7. And that would be the East Carolina Pirates. The reason I have ECU here is because they do have a veteran QB, and a guy I'm gonna be happy to say this when he's got Holden Nailers he's the best quarterback in the American Athletic Conference. But when he's gone, and if I do this again next year, you might see East Carolina lower in the rankings. You might see him higher at the end of the season. You never know, because this is before the year. But anyway, I think if they play well enough, I do think that they have a good chance to make the conference championship game. Number 6, I've got FAU, another new team to the American Athletic Conference. And the reason I have them here is because I have watched some of their games. And I had a friend that had a sibling. I'm not going to name names, but they went to FAU. And they told him that FAU football is going to be really good the next few years. And I would agree. That's why I have them at number 6. Because I think in their first year in the American, that they can that they can compete in the American and maybe win the conference. But there's 5 teams in front of them that I think have a better shot. Number 5 is UAB. They don't need no introduction. They dominate in the conference USA. They were always in the either runner up, second, or third. Well, runner up, second. They were always second or third in Conference USA, and that's why I have them here. At number 3 is correction. At number 4 is UTSA. I know it says minors on there because I was thinking of UTEP. My bad. That was a spelling error. When I do the chapters for this video, I will make sure I put in right that it's the UTSA Roadrunners, not minors, Roadrunners. But back to why I have them at number 4. UTSA was another team that was really good in Conference USA and competed all the time there. Was either runner up, second, third. They were top 4 basically in Conference USA the whole time they were there. Number 3, I have SMU. I like SMU. I think they're going to be good this year. They have a veteran coach. I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. At number 2, I've got Tulane, who surprised a lot of people last year in the American, and they caught my eye. I wasn't expecting them to be as good as they were in the American last year. But they were, and that's why I have them here. And drum roll, please. Number 1 is USF. I have them up here. This is I am a USF fan, but this is non-biased. Very non-biased. I can see them winning the American Athletic Conference because they already know a lot about Tulane, Tulsa, Navy, East Carolina, and SMU. Those five teams. They already know a lot about them. The only unknowns are 6. I left out. Did I say Temple? If I didn't, I'm going to correct myself and say Temple also. So that's 6. The other one, they don't know a lot about UTSA. They don't know a lot about UAB. Don't know a lot about FAU. Don't know a lot about Rice. Don't know a lot about Charlotte. Don't know a lot about North Texas. But the rest of these rankings, they know a lot about those teams. And I think they win the American because, like I said, it'll be more competitive than it was last year. Now, on to slide number 2. My 3 preseason American Athletic Conference Coach of the Year candidates. Number 3, and I'm going to do a lot of explaining here. Number 3, I've got Trent Dilfer, the coach in his first year at University of Alabama, Birmingham. And the reason I have him here is because I this is his first gig as a head coach in college football. But I he has infinite wisdom on how to coach because he was on ESPN for a long time as an analyst. So hopefully he takes some of that and puts it towards helping the kids, helping these 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are playing football at in college, helps instill some of his wisdom on them. And maybe he wins Coach of the Year. Number 2 Coach of the Year candidate I have preseason for the American, it's Jeff Traylor. UTSA fans, please let me know if I said his name correctly. The reason I have him here is because he's been at UTSA for a long, long time. And he has a lot of experience there. And I think he could win Coach of the Year. If it's not for, little teaser, the guy I have at number 1. But back to, like I was saying, back to Traylor. You saw what he did with UTSA and Conference USA. They were always, like I said, when I was doing the standings, they were always top 4 in Conference USA, and they never had a bad record except for maybe his first 2 years there at UTSA. And that's why I have him at number 2. And drumroll, please. My number 1 preseason American Athletic Conference Coach of the Year is first-year head coach at the University of South Florida, Alex Golish. I gush over this hire for USF. I have a friend that's a Tennessee fan. You probably know who you are. You talked almost extensively about how good he is running an offense. Now he gets to do this as a head coach. His first time as a head coach. I loved this hire for USF as a USF fan. But this is non-biased. I think he's going to unlock the best offense USF has ever had in recent years. He will unlock the best of Gary Bohannon or whoever he decides is the best fit at QB for USF. And that's why I have them winning the American Athletic Conference regular season and in a little bit, in the next slide, you may see them in the conference championship game. But back to what I was saying about Golish. This, in my opinion, for USF was a home run hire. Jeff Scott failed miserably as the head coach at USF. I'm not going to go into detail because I did in another video where I talked about this extensively and then got into talking about the new head coach for USF. That's why I have Golish here. Alex Golish at number 1 in my preseason college football American Athletic Conference Coach of the Year predictions. Now, on to slide number 3. The 3 preseason American Athletic Conference championship game predictions. Number 3 is I have Tulane and USF playing each other in the American Athletic Conference Championship game. And I have USF beating Tulane 45-25. And having USF represent the American Athletic Conference in the 12-team college football playoff as one of the 6 conference champions, or as one of the at-large group of 5. Number 2 conference championship game I have. This is an interesting one. I have UAB and SMU playing, with SMU winning 35-14. And the reason I think both of these teams can make it is because the American Athletic Conference is going to be wide open. There will be games where there's no defense, and there will be games where there's low scoring and there's a lot of defense. For example, this game, there's some offense, there's some defense, with SMU winning 35-14. And my number 1 preseason AAC championship game prediction is USF and UTSA playing in the conference championship game, with USF winning 35-25. And now the last thing I'm going to talk about today. Let's see, can I zoom? Hold on. There we go. Here's my schedule record prediction for the University of South Florida football team this year. Week 1, they play at Western Kentucky. I think they win their first 2 games. At Western Kentucky and at home against Florida A&M. The next 2 games, they play Alabama at home, and unfortunately, that is where they take their first defeat of the season. And then week 4 at Navy, that's going to be a tough game because Navy, they don't run your traditional offense. They run the triple option offense, and that gives teams fits. It gave USF fits 2 years ago when they played them. But I think they figure out a way to slow down the triple option offense of Navy and win that game, making them 3-1 going into a game at UConn. And it seems like Jim Moore is cooking something up at UConn. They've played really well the last 2 years under him, under Jim Moore, has UConn, but unfortunately, sadly, I don't think USF I'm going to give USF the win, which makes them 4-1 going into their second conference game against at UTSA. And I think they beat UTSA and hand UTSA one of its only losses of the year. So that makes USF 5-1. And they go home and they play Rice. Now, like I said earlier when I did these standings, I don't know much about Rice. I need to watch more video on them to see what type of offense they run and what type of defense. But a wild prediction guess, USF wins So that is 6-1. Six and one, yeah. My bad. I was just making sure I had it right. And then they travel up to Birmingham, Alabama to take on UAB. And I think they beat UAB, which makes them 7-1 going into their bye week. They come out of their bye week and they play at home against FAU, which I think is another win, making them 8-1. This is non-biased. This is just prediction. I don't know how many games they're actually going to win, but so there's 8-1. They go, and then next week they go to Memphis, and I think they lose at Memphis, which makes them 8-2. Yeah, 8-2. And then they play at home against Temple. And I think they win that to go to 9-2. And in their final game of the year, Senior Day, they play Charlotte University, the Charlotte 49ers. I think that is also a win. So they finished the regular season with 10 wins. They go 10-2, and they play in the conference championship game of the American. And thank you, everybody, for coming out to the stream. I will be back with 3 streams tomorrow at 11 a.m., 6 p.m., 10 p.m. And special announcement on the 10 p.m. show, on the 6 p.m. show, I will have a special guest and former college football player on the show, on the 6 o'clock show. I can't tell you who it is. You'll just have to wait and see. But thank you for coming to the stream tonight. Like I said, I will have 3 more streams tomorrow. Please come on and join the streams. Please like, subscribe, share, comment on the video, share it, and send it to your friends. Then have your friends to their friends. I would really appreciate it. And have a great night. Thank you for coming out.